He's called Joe.
Some folks say there's no voice today that is willing to reach the hearts and minds of the average Joe. You know him, you know him, you know him. He's the 50-plus hour work week with no OT Joe. And let's build our lives on shaky credit with a 21% APR Joe. The one paycheck away from living in the car Joe. The American dream that's drifting away Joe. They are the let's kill the pain with spirits, herbs, and chemicals, Joe. The fearing tomorrows in a world full of sorrows, Joe. The class they were born into is going extinct and there's no moving up but only going down, Joe. The masses that passes the classes and still works in the mailroom, Joe. Lest we forget the man on the street with nothing to eat, Joe. And the barely legal boys with their lethal toys who play G.I. Joe, Joe. The dying too young with their song never sung, Joe. The teenager dad who wasn't so bad but got dealt a tough hand, Joe. And the sad drug-addicted fool who sits outside the schoolyard trying to retrace his steps to find his way back home, Joe. And then there's a lonely poet who has lost his voice by no choice of his own, Joe. And they can't find it behind him and they can't find it in front of them because tomorrow may not be there, Joe. And the living in fear of the 6 o'clock news, afraid to hear that another 3,000 are struck dead in the name of God, Joe. And the seeker who seeks and finds nothing worthwhile, Joe. And the fool who struck gold only to let it go up in smoke, Joe. I'm too tired to deal with this head, and sometimes I think I'd rather be dead, Joe.
And the coping and hoping for someone to hear their plea, Joe. I hear you, Joe. I hear you, Joe. This one's for us.